Yeah. Huh? Huh?
We do 1 minute of three-step rhythm.
Huh? हाँ, इसको बंद करो।
This Manik? Manik?
Manik.
Regarding your question in the morning, I realized later that I'd mentioned something, but I didn't take it further over there. Now, we just go back into the stages of thought. So there is the verbal thought, there is the non-verbal thought, which Tauriaji calls as thought form. And there is the idea behind the thought form. So out of one idea, many thought forms could come. And from many thought forms, there could be many verbal thoughts. And beyond the idea is pure thought energy, pure vichar shakti or thought energy. So we can look at it in these four stages. Now, for something to be effective, so we would look at the different stages that say verbal thought would have a certain amount of effectiveness. But non-verbal thought, that is thought form, would be more effective. And of course, if I could put it in the form of the idea at that time, then it is what in Sanskrit we would call as sankalp. It no longer is a thought, it becomes a sankalp. But sankalp comes from samyak kalpana. Kalpana means imagination, right? Right imagination. So the thing is, there it would be a kind of just a sensitivity. So now, say somebody is what do you call, creating a problem in the office. So I go to him and I talk to him, and so my words may not have so much of an effect. Yeah. Because when I turn my back and go away, he may just say, "I idiot, both back." Something of that. So that happens all the time. So then can I move to a higher stage of thought, and there visualization comes in. That is why in the morning I touched on the subject and somehow how I forgot about it, I don't remember. So there is where, visualization comes in. And in my personal journey, I've used it a lot. In the sense that I'm going to office today. And I know what all are the, what do you call, obstacles in the office, which people, and I can visualize them. Now, the technique in visualization is that we have to pass on what we think in a non-verbal form. You understand? I can't visualize Manek and say, okay, you will do this and say it in words. Then it's not going to work that way. There must be a transmission which is not in language. It has to be at the level of visualization, at the level of pictures. Right? So one of the things which you can do is that all those people who you have a problem with, right? And so you visualize them in the morning, and we yet don't have the technique to put our thought into a picture. We've not yet learned. Say, good artist can put his thought into a picture, right? But we don't know how to do it. So what we can do is, at that time, we visualize the person, we visualize his third eye. And we concentrate on the third eye, and we sort of just transmit good vibrations or light or something of that sort, and see whether it works. So one is I talk to the person, so that is at the level of talking, and one is at this level, right? And when that person meets you, you can concentrate on his third eye, right? And allow something to happen between you and that person. And people do feel very upset if you concentrate on the third eye. If there's a little bit of sensitivity there, then they do get upset. So something will penetrate over there. So that is what in the morning I wanted to say that, but somehow it got lost in what we were talking about, right? So then, of course, if you can go to the idea and at the level of the idea, so that is totally different. I mean, it would be very difficult to put it there into a kind of form, right? So this is possible also.
Oh, I have a follow-up question about this.
Yeah, go ahead, follow. Keep on following.
So,
you're not married, so you just now practice following.
So in this thing that you just mentioned,
Little louder.
in this technique that you just mentioned,
Right.
but aren't you concentrating on the other person, like rather than getting over the issue in myself, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
But sometimes it may become necessary,
Mhm.
right? It may become necessary. Don't misuse anything like that, but it may become necessary. See, there's a whole world below the earth. Earth in the sense, not earth as earth. Earth in the sense as vibrational. How do I explain this in the sense? Now, say I have a thought, that the thought has a certain level of vibration. Now, thought is a higher cosmos than cell, right? But if I move into the cell, the level of vibrations are higher, even though it is a lower cosmos. Can you get what I'm trying to say? Yeah. So when we say Prithvi Tattva, right? But below Prithvi Tattva, there's a whole level of vibrations. And those in the Shastra is called as Tal. Patal, Vital, Sutal, Talatal, they have their different names. And all the black magic comes from those areas because they are very high vibrations which can be used negatively, right? So it is the study of those and so something can also be used negatively, right? But what I'm trying to say is that sometimes we may have to, just put in a thought, put in a this thing, that we don't want to control somebody else, but we can bring a healthy atmosphere between two people. And we can bring a conducive atmosphere, right? So that can be possible. So it resolves conflict, no?
Questions?
Yeah, we'll take the questions.
I think yesterday we had covered some questions live, which we decided to do it today. I think Dhruvin, you had one question, right? You want to maybe?
Uh,
So my question was that about the motive of spiritual practice,
The what?
the motive, the objective. So, I mean, my question is that sometimes, I feel that the practice that we do might help us in our daily life, in getting ahead in work or study or whatever it is, making us better at it. So is it fine to have such an objective, or should it be that, I only want to be in the moment? I mean, it's because sometimes there's a selfish element to it, some career progression attached to it. Is it fine to look at it that way?
I think it's what you call something which everybody should use. Right. So, see, we don't have to think spiritually about everything, right? Now, we take one thing, just one small thing. Supposing I am trading in the market, right? Now, of course, I don't get so much time as I used to get. But when the days when I'm free, I love to do day trading, what they call it. And I spend half the day trading in the market. Now, do I want to become a better trader? Can you understand? So definitely I want to become a better trader. Is there anything wrong in becoming a better trader? I'm playing my role in life and I want to be a better player. If I can act better in the movie, then why not act better, right? By practicing something or not practicing something. Absolutely nothing wrong in that, right? Now, supposing I say that if I do the prism exercise for 10 minutes, 15 minutes before starting my day trading, and it makes a massive difference in my day trading, then what is wrong in doing the prism exercise? Can you understand, right? So all of us have life ambitions. Somebody wants to earn some money, right? Somebody wants to be better in what they are doing. Somebody wants to do a little bit of research. What we have to see over there is that I am not stealing from anyone else. I am not harming anyone else, right? Or I'm not, using the cunning part of the mind. See, in spirituality, you don't need cunningness. You need a kind of cleverness. which borders on cunningness, but in cunningness, there's harm to somebody else. Here, there's no harm to anybody else. So if you feel the practices which you're doing, the rhythmic breathing, and they have to. I mean, you're in some financial job, right? And if the, what do you call, by doing the practices, if say in the spectrum of your vision, then what is wrong? You're a better player in your role of life, right? But when I start using that to cheat somebody else, when I start using that to project my ego, to control somebody, I want to make somebody a disciple, then I'm moving into the wrong, what do you call, can you understand what I'm trying? There's absolutely no harm. It should be both together harmoniously. The spiritual side and the material side must balance harmoniously. There's absolutely nothing wrong, right? And even as we are members of society, right? Now, as members of society, there are certain rules of society. Those are not natural rules, but still they are there in society. Say like we take one law of society, which is income tax. Nobody likes to pay income tax. But say there is a law in society. Now, that is not a natural law. That law is not there in nature. So I can use a very, what do you call, cunning intelligence that God has not made this law. Man has made this law. Why should I pay income tax? Can you understand? But then I'm using my, what do you call, logic in a devious way. I'm definitely staying in this country and I'm using the resources of this country. And for that, I have to pay a tax, right? So if it is used in the right way, everything is wrong. But you know, when that higher intelligence opens up, and suddenly you see this is a man-made law of income tax. Why should I pay income tax? Right? And it is a man-made law. It has nothing to do with the divine. But still, we are living in society. We just pay it, and that's the end of the matter. So in that way, if you can harmoniously bring your work and the spiritual side of it together, and within the work, you know, 2-3 times in a day, you just pause and do something else and sort of go into yourself, and then again go back to your work table. Right? So that will
You had prepared a question.
No, I'm done.
You had the other question that you said.
So that also. Okay. So the other question I had is, what is the difference between when you're pursuing something, or you are at a task, or generally in life, when you're faced with an obstacle as well? What is the difference between giving up and letting go? Because people often say that you try your best, and then if it doesn't work, you let go. The distinction is not always clear.
Swami Brahmavedanji, Bhagwan, he had a beautiful saying, right? જીવવાનું તો છે, રામ રાખે એમ ઝક મારીને જીવવું છે કે રામ રાખે એમ પ્રેમથી જીવવું છે, right? That is up to you, right? So giving up is ઝક મારીને જીવવું છે અને letting go is પ્રેમથી જીવવું છે. You get it? એટલે જીવવું તો પડશે જ, રામ રાખે એમ જીવવું પડશે. So letting go is a conscious act. Letting go is a conscious act. Giving up is a mechanical. Right? I give up. I'm frustrated. I give up on you. You'll never change. Can you understand that? I give up on you. Right? So that is not a conscious act. That is a what do you call? I'm doing it out of a negative emotion. frustration. In 1974, I went for my first camp of Osho, Rajneeshji, in Mount Abu. And it was at the Bikaner Palace Hotel. And when the first lecture, when it started, Osho is saying that for these 10 days, because it was a 10-day camp, remember 2 words: let go. And when to let go? Now. Right? So you've come here, you have your mobile phone with you, somebody's phone comes, let go. When to let go? Now. You're bothered about what your mom and dad are doing, let go. Let go now. You're bothered about what's happening in office, let go now. You're not giving up. Can you see? You're consciously dropping it. Can you understand? Right? And beautiful 2 words and so powerful. Right? So he says these 10 days over here, any tension comes, anything comes from the outside, right? Let go. Of course, in those days there were no mobile phones or anything. Let go now. Right? And I've remembered that. And let go is a deep relaxation. Can you understand? Giving up is not a relaxation. Giving up is a frustration. Frustration. So at the point of where you're giving up, you can pause and turn it into a let go. Now I can't do anything in this area. Can you get it? Supposing somebody close to me is drinking all the time. I tried my best. But if I can't do anything, then I don't want to give up out of frustration. Right? I have to give up. I know I cannot change it. Right? But I let go. I said, this is it. His destiny will take him where he has to go. And in the end, destiny takes us where we have to go.
I have a follow-up on
Yeah. You're very good at following up.
No. When do we know that, like after how much effort do we know that I should sort of give up / let go now versus, let's say, continue a little bit more and maybe things might change or get better?
No, it came to one word which we used, understanding. There's an understanding of the situation. But he's drinking every day. I can't change him now. I've tried my best, right? But I can't change him any longer, right? So then I have to stop over there. Then I have to detach myself from. I may feel a loss, but destiny will take him wherever he is. I can pray for him. I can give good wishes to him. I can visualize and send good wishes to him, right? But I know I cannot do anything more than that. So the beautiful book, I don't remember the name of the author because I read it about 30 years ago. It was on the life of Vinoba. The name of the book was Moved by Love. And somebody had presented that book to me. And it was on Vinobaji. And she's writing in this book that in Vinoba's life, time came when the Sarvodaya movement increased like anything. And he could not meet all the Sarvodaya workers personally. So then Vinoba would get up early in the morning, visualize each worker, send him good wishes, in the Sukshma. So Vinoba, he coined a word called Sukshma Pravesh. Pravesh means to enter, Sukshma means subtle. So subtle relationship, subtle this thing. And he would think of each person and send good wishes that you're doing a good job, you're doing this, right? He cannot be met personally. And Vinoba then says that when he started doing this, suddenly the whole work of the Sarvodaya movement took a different turn. Absolutely. So there was a whole, what do you call, effort. And after that, I think some years later, many years later, I think I also read one book by one cardiac surgeon. I can't remember the name of that book also, where he says after doing the surgery of the patient, where they used to have a heart transplant or something of that sort, open heart surgery. And then he would think of that patient every morning, visualize the patient and send good wishes for his healing. And he wrote all his experiences in that book. That was a very good book. I can't remember the name of that book. And so you can see that maybe I cannot change him, but I could think of him in the morning. And that is the meaning of prayer. I pray for him. Not. So at a certain time, we understand that we can't go further. This is just an understanding.
Thank you. I have a follow-up question. I have a follow-up question about the question that he asked again.
We'll not use the word follow-up.
Okay, I have a question. So,
No, go ahead, yeah. Ask the question.
so like it is one thing that if say my efficiency in the workplace or like performance come as like a byproduct of the practices, right? But to do the practices for the sole purpose of increasing my efficiency. So like, would that be the same thing, or would that like the attitude of doing the practices in both, would that be the same? And like, how would Mr. Tavaria, if he were here, feel if like we
You
were?
say do the practices. Don't think too much. There's right questioning and there's wrong questioning. Right. And when we are in a state of intellectual laziness, it is wrong question. It is wrong question. Do the practices. And if there is this thing, I'm doing it for my workplace or, to make more money, then in the morning, do it for making money. In the evening, do it for spirituality. Whatever you want, but do the practices. Do it twice a day. And you can also do it to get a good wife.
Okay, I think I'm going to pass the mic.
Yeah, I want to ask if you can explain. If you can explain a little on how to read the intensity charts and understand. Sorry, but
Okay, I'll try. I'll try. It's many years since I've read the intensity chart, so Now, the intensity charts were created out of Tavaria Sahib's science and his observation of people. And you'll see there are separate columns, right? And on the top, it tells us what is there. Now, on the top, you will see there are different, ratios given. There's 2482, there is 5221, and I don't remember, I think there is 3A, 3B, or 3C, I don't remember, but there is 2482 and 5221. At least as far as we are concerned, these are the two with which we must be, we are connected in a way. Now, you can just have a look at it. I'm coming to that. I'm coming to that. Now, if you'll see after the top of the chart, there are different columns, like he said. There is the sex center, the what you call moving center. There's the emotional center and intellectual center. Don't confuse them with Gurdjieff centers. They are totally different. They are totally different. What? Yeah, I don't want the chart. I don't want. I can, what do you call, exercise my memory. Right. If I make a mistake, you can tell me. Now you have to understand what he means by IESM, right? I meaning intellectual, E meaning emotional, S meaning what you call sex, and M as movement. So you have to change those names. I is sattva, E is rajas, S is tamas, right? And M is resultant.
Right.
M is resultant, right? So we have to look at it this way. Now, first you take, say, 2482. You know the meaning of 2482?
Yeah.
Right? 2 meaning sattva, 4 meaning rajas, 8 meaning
Thomas.
tamas, right? So, supposing I am writing something, so I'm using the intellectual center, and what do you call, somebody says that let's go for a movie. So 4 will be my liking for the movie, the force which is taking me for the movie. And 8 will be my attraction to the movie, that how the movie is hypnotizing me, tamas, sending me into the state of tamas.
Right.
Right? And because 4 and 8 are more powerful than 2, the resultant will be, I will follow that. Now, then the second one is 5221. Now, as we practice the pause, the sattva increases and tamas and rajas, they lose their grip on sattva, right? So there is still an attraction to go for the movie. There's still, because in tamas there is no level of attention. And we want to live in a level of attention where we don't have to use attention at all. So I want to go for the movie, but my, inner pause is powerful enough for the intellectual center to understand, that is my sattva to throw light on the situation, enough of light for me to bring an understanding that I don't want to follow 4 and 8. So it becomes 2 and 2, and 2 and 2 cannot overcome 5. And so 1 is the resultant intensity. And 1 means effortless effort, action through non-action. In the beginning it was 2, now it is 1, and I follow that action. Again, we can look at these 3 in a different way. In the sense that I is directed attention, E is attracted attention, S is zero attention, and M is the resultant. Right? It's the same thing, but now we can look at Mr. Tawaria's science through the eyes of Gurdjieff, right? And we can say that this is how it is. Now the idea is to take that sheet first and take the one connected with 2482. Right? And he has brought down the intensities right down to the physical level. So I look for some disease that I have or some ail. He doesn't call it disease, he calls it ailment, right? So I, what do you call, look for it, and I say I have a sinus problem, right? So I'll first look at 2482. Then I'll look first in the I column and look for a sinus problem. Then you'll find the sinus problem over there. And I'll write down that this is the thing. Then I'll look in the E column. Again, I'll find the sinus problem. Again, I'll write down that this is the thing. And the M column, right? Then I'll go into 5221 and again look at the same thing. But there I must be a little authentic that I am following 5221. And then I'll sit down amongst these that which one does it apply to me? Which one does this apply to me? Right? So did you get sinus? You didn't get sinus? Can you think of another one? COVID, how can there be COVID?
You may take cancer. It's very common these days.
You can look up hypertension,
Hypertension and cancer.
high BP.
Higher low blood pressure and
Okay, now look in the I column. Where is it?
this is high. This is at plus 200, plus minus 200.
Yeah,
The plus part is go out of 1 0 to 10,
right,
and negative is hurt purposely by fault finding.
right. Okay, so now we take it, say this is my problem. So I'm hurting other people by finding fault or criticizing their actions. Thank you. This morning, I've written a beautiful piece on Facebook that when you criticize somebody, you're taking a part of his negative karma as yours. Right? So actually this morning I was writing some notes and suddenly it struck me that when we criticize somebody, that person may be a negative person, but we are, what do you call, taking a partnership in his negativity, right? So here he's using the same thing, fault finding with someone. And because of that, they have BP, right? Now, what is this opposite?
Go
Go
on
out
to
of 1 0 to 10.
Help people. So you have to move from internal considering to
external.
external considering. And in the joy of external considering, it, what you call, will neutralize the, what you call, block, which creates
Ailment.
blood pressure. Creates blood pressure. Now, this is only in I column. You have to go through all the columns. We are not going through all the columns, right? And you have to see which one pertains to you. Now, there is something else over here that he has used intensities. He has used intensities. And this is a very deep science, very, very deep science, in the sense that I know what it is, but I cannot explain in a perfect way what it is. Can you get? That means my knowing has not come to that stage where I'm absolutely clear about it. Right? But I'll try to give you a certain kind of this thing. Because there are so many things involved in this. So many things involved. Now, he's put a certain intensity over there. Can you read the intensity?
Plus 200.
So, for example, in the
Same one, read the same one. Stick to one so we can become clear.
blood pressure is plus 200.
Plus 200.
And
That is of the helping other people. Is there a minus intensity?
minus,
Minus
same.
200.
Minus 200. Now, we must understand that plus 200 is Kundalini Shakti and minus 200 is Kula Kundalini Shakti. You get it? I'll try to explain this. It's very difficult, very, very difficult, because there's still even much more to what my explaining is behind this. Right? But you may get a certain kind of clarity. Now, I have this habit of finding fault with everybody. Right? So I find fault with him, I find fault, and he feels hurt, she feels hurt. Right? And every time I'm finding fault, if it is I. Now, again in I, can you, this is so deep, you know, it's very difficult for me to explain. Say I'm finding fault with my son. So, if somebody asks me that, why are you finding fault with your son? Right? So I'll say I'm finding fault with it for his good, not for my good. Can you understand? And that idea may be true. Can you understand? I may be authentic about that idea. So that is why he has only used minus 200. Now, if you can find the same thing in the E column, just, I don't know if I'm coming across in this, right? Because it is sattva. So sattva, I'm finding fault, then I'm finding fault for your good, which is also not right. It is still a negative emotion. Can you get it? But still, the behind the negative emotion, there is the intensity of negativity is only minus 200. Huh? Yeah. Now, can you go to some other column? Yeah.
In my
In E, there is only high blood pressure, not low blood pressure. High blood pressure, it is 3150. The plus.
You now get it? Now, I'm not concerned about my son. I'm finding fault because I like to find fault and dislike to find fault. Can you get it? It's a pure negative emotion, right? So what is the minus intensity? 3150. Now, we have to understand what this 3150 means and what minus 200 means. I hope everybody is not getting bored in her question, because this is huh? Right, because this is way out, you know. Now, here again we have to go back to Kundalini and Kula Kundalini. So Kundalini is resultant intensity. Kula Kundalini is resultant
Pattern.
pattern. Resultant pattern. Now the Kundalini energy, it is locked in sanskar, in pattern. It is locked in pattern. Now, we take this one pattern of finding fault with someone, and I see him, right? And maybe something of his I want to find fault with. So I'll say the words in your t-shirt are all upside down, right? Okay. Now I'm finding fault with him, and behind that finding fault, what is the motive? Whether the motive is E or whether the motive is I. Can you get now what I'm trying to say? Now, supposing this pattern of finding fault comes out and I find fault with him, then that pattern goes back with intensity. It has taken a certain intensity and is going back. What does that intensity mean? It is going to give me momentum to find fault with somebody else or with him again. Can you understand? What is the intensity in the pattern is how much that pattern is going to control me. What is the momentum in that pattern to control me? Sanskar, what they call. Now, this pattern comes out, and the pattern is, I have a, what do you call, good, what do you call, motive behind the pattern, which I consider good. It is not a good motive, but I consider it as good. I'm doing it for his benefit, right? So I find fault with him, right? When you come for a talk, you better wear a proper shirt. You can't come in a t-shirt. Of course, I come in a t-shirt, right? Okay. So there is, maybe I feel that it is a good, what do you call, motive behind it. And that pattern goes in with how much of momentum? 300 to minus?
3100.
No, 200, minus 200.
Oh, that two minus 200.
Minus 200.
Yes.
Right? There's not much intensity in that. Now, supposing at that moment, right, I pause and I don't say it to him. And maybe I go to the opposite. I want to help him in a certain way. So I may say the same thing in a way which is helping him. Then that pattern gets destroyed. And it releases how much of energy? Plus
200.
200. Plus 200. I get my Kundalini Shakti, which was locked in patterns, out of that 200 plus units have been released out of that. Can you get what I mean? But now I have this habit of finding fault with everybody. And I see him, there's nothing to find fault with him. I just have to find fault with him, right? And I just give it to him. Then it becomes minus
3000.
so that pattern, when it gets reinforced and goes back, is very different from the pattern which was I. It is now E. And when you go into S, it will also be very different. Can you see? So, but if I work on this pattern, which is now a negative emotion in the real sense, that is not a pure negative emotion, the I. But if I work on this, then I release so many units of Kundalini energy. So it's either each moment I'm creating resultant pattern or I'm creating resultant intensity. And intensity means consciously I look at the pattern gets destroyed, and I release this. Now we have to go a little further than this. And this is where I am not in total clarity myself. So here is where my personal, I'm stuck at this point, that how to relate this, but I'll try to give you some outline of it. Now, what was the negative thought? Can you just?
For blood pressure? For the pressure?
Yeah, we have to use one. If we can't do the whole thing.
So for pressure, it was hurt purposely by fault finding. This is minus 200.
Yeah.
I part.
Now, supposing here, I'm holding a thought, right? And you can observe this in certain people. They love to find fault with somebody else. And right? So maybe they're holding a thought over here, and that thought is repeating all the time, whom to find fault with. They don't know it. It's in an unconscious way, but that thought they are holding on to over there. So they are continuously creating these intensities. Now the problem over here comes with the breathing. Can you get it? So if we count the intensities over here, then we are looking at something like 30,000 impulses come in, So it's getting more complicated. And out of those 30,000 impulses, 10,000 go one place, 10,000 go another place, and 10,000 enter the, what do you call, channels of the nervous system. Now, at the moment of creating that thought that I want to find fault, it is through these impulses that that thought has been created. What was the effect of my breathing upon the thinking? Can you understand? Now, if those impulses are coming in, those impulses are meeting memory pattern, they are creating thought, and it is repeating the same thought that I want to find fault. But at that time, if my breathing is in rhythm, then my breathing is not adding tamas, rajas or sattva to the thinking. But my breathing is not in rhythm. My breathing is with this thing that I have to put him in his place. I have to find the fault. Can you understand? And that is going to change the nature of my breath. And so it could be very hot. It could be very moist. And so hot will increase the E. Moist will increase the, what do you call, S. Can you understand? Right? So from the impulse inside which is coming and the thought formation being done over there may be a certain ratio of IES, but that ratio of IES is again influenced by my breathing. But if my breathing is in rhythm, then my breathing is not influencing that ratio of IES. And that is how he finds these, what do you call, he is minus 2000, what these vibrations he has given, these intensities which he has given, it is that combination of so many factors. Now there's still one more thing over here. I wanted nobody to ever ask this question, you know. Now the problem is that at the time of birth, what we call the Atma, you see, because when I don't know if everybody is getting bored with this, it's all heavy stuff here. The Atma, when it enters the body-brain system, it fires between Mooladhara and Swadhisthana and it creates an electric current which we call as Sushumna. It moves up the backbone. It is called as Sushumna, right? So the Atma is nothing but the electricity which runs this computer, the machine. It is the electricity which runs the machine. Now, that initial current, I've forgotten all my old, because this now you're taking me back nearly 30, how many years is it? 28 years, 29 years you're taking me back. The initial current of the Atma, which comes in, has a vibration of, if I remember rightly, I'm not sure, it is 22,600. Anybody, where's Hardik? આપણે ગંગા સતીના ભજનમાં તો પછી કાલ 22,600 ખાઈ જશે શું કહે છે? 21,600, sorry, not 22,600. When the current comes in of the Atma, right, it has a vibrational frequency of 21,600. So that 21,600 is our Kundalini energy. So how many units of Kundalini energy do I have? Is 21,600. Then that divides into two. So 10,500, 10,500, right? And that again keeps on dividing amongst the chakras. So that intensity of the Atma, where it creates, it is pure electricity, which is vibrating at 21,600. Of course, when these people sing the bhajans and explain the bhajans, they talk about 21,600 breaths, which is total nonsense. And they've not understood what they're talking about, right? So that vibration is broken down amongst all the chakras. The chakras are the primary, both the positive emotions and the negative emotions. If there is a negative emotion, this is the intensity taken. If that negative emotion is released as Kundalini, this is the intensity. So the initial division, as far as I remember just now, because all this I have talked with him nearly 31 years ago, is that it is divided into 10,500, 10,500. That is the creation of Ida and Pingla. So then 10,500 is in Ida and 10,500 is in Pingla. And then it gets sorted out amongst the chakras, right? And what you read as 8,000 and 2,000 and 3,150, it is these intensities of the original Atma which he's talking about. Can you understand? So at what rate is that vibrating? Now, till this, I am pretty clear in all this. Can you see? This is the whole science. Now, you have to add to this the movement of prana in the earth and how that affects our movement of prana in the body, and the movement of prana amongst the planets. So the movement of prana of the sun, which moves in the earth, directly of the sun, is called the north-south circulation. And the movement of prana of the sun between the planets and the moon is called the east-west circulation. And that affects our breathing. That affects our breathing. So our breathing, when it is in total rhythm, it is in rhythm with this northwest circulation and east-west circulation and north-south circulation. I'll go into that someday. What I'm trying to say is that he has pieced all this together and he has made these intensity charts. But for us, I've tried my best to put it in whichever way I can. For us, the most important thing is that what ailment do I have? Where is it in I? Where is it in E? Where is it in S? Where is it in M? Right? Where is it in the 2482? Where is it in 5221? I try to see which thought have I been repeating over here, which have been creating all the time, which has led to this, and what is the antidote for that thought that will release that much of Kundalini energy, which is stuck in the certain sanskars. And because of that sanskars, I have that disease. I have that problem, right? So in a nutshell, I can give you this much. I don't remember more. Problem is I never put it down on paper. I never taped this conversation when I had it with him. But this is in a nutshell. I'm trying to give you what it is. And I've not yet got into the, what you call, mood to work upon it, because it needs real thinking to chintan, what we call, to, unravel the whole thing. Unfortunately, he left the body in the month of May. And in July, we were supposed to go to Kerala to some ashram for a week or 10 days. And he had planned everything, and he was going to write down everything over there in that. But that never happened at that time. So you'll see one column is empty over here. That is not in this, but in the original one, which is in his own handwriting, which is lying with me somewhere. There's one column which is empty. One column is empty. And that is the column where he wanted to put the exact medicine which you take, which will help you to bring that positive attitude. And what do you call, suppress, not suppress, pause the negative attitude, right? So, but that column remained empty. Bola. So the Atma comes in and then it makes an electromagnetic field. So the original frequency of the Atma is 21,600. And then in making the field, the electromagnetic field, that original frequency is divided through all the centers in the body, right? And we'll have to go into it. I mean, it's a very deep study, very, very deep study. And that is when the child starts breathing, the Ida Pingla starts. So when it divides into two, the child starts breathing, right? The time is over. Anything else? Anyone wants to comment on this? I don't know. Anyway, I exercised my memory today. A dead memory.
One question. Hello. Okay. I have one question. What is the difference between sensitivity and sensitiveness?
I forget your name.
Urvi.
I've lost my sensitivity. Urvi. The first step in any spiritual practice is to move from sensitiveness to sensitivity. And it doesn't happen overnight. It takes years of understanding to awaken that practice. Now, we'll do it in what you call very ordinary words, because these are two big words, sensitiveness and sensitivity and all that. But sensitiveness is excitement, right? So, how much of sensitiveness am I holding? How much of sensitiveness am I holding? So in the morning, we had said that the muscles are like capacitors, where they keep on storing negative energy. This negative energy is the beginning of sensitiveness. Right? Now, if my muscles are not very tense, they are little relaxed, then the amount of negative energy in my muscles is less. Supposing he insults me, even if I insult him back, there won't be much of a, what do you call? So this, I'm not holding much of sensitiveness. Yes. But if my muscles are full of negative energy, then I'm holding a lot of sensitiveness, the energy of sensitiveness. Energy of sensitiveness is combustible. Bhadko thai sake. Right? He, for no fault of his, he may have just touched me like this. Right? There's nothing in the thing. But suddenly I, throw it all on him. Bhadko thai. Because it's just a small spark, but I'm holding all this, and even a small spark will explode. So that is the energy of sensitiveness. The energy of sensitiveness. So again, if we take it in Gurdjieffian language, how much of negative energy am I holding in my muscles? Sensitiveness. Sensitivity is the beginning of external considering. Now again he insults me. There's no sensitiveness. There's sensitivity. So sensitivity, I live him. I say he's insulting me, right? What is it that is driving him to insult me? Can I sense it? Can I live it? Can you understand? Right? So maybe I feel that he is holding a block somewhere. Maybe I feel he had a fight with his wife in the morning and he has nobody else to throw it out. He is holding a lot of sensitiveness. So he saw me, maybe my face started the thing. He didn't like my face and he threw it on me. Or whatever. Can you understand? So there I understand where it is coming from. So there's no question of my reacting. I've understood him in sensitiveness. I've understood him. Right? And in that understanding, now there is external consideration. How do I help him? How do I help him? Right? So, but as long as we are victims of external stimuli, excitement, it is always reaction, there is always sensitiveness. But when there's sensitivity, right? And we must do small experiments to practice sensitivity, right? So you can go to the fields, and if the fields, the wheat is growing, you can sit and watch it, and then start feeling the movement in the wind, start feeling how the, what do you call, juices are being lifted up in there, how it is being nourished, what is it feeling, not what I am feeling, oh, it is so beautiful, that is what I am feeling, that is internal consideration. Can you get it? But what the wheat is feeling. So I move from myself to the wheat. There's a sensitivity of that wheat. There's a sensitivity of that wheat, right? Similarly, a sensitivity of the other person. Now, if you see husband and wife, right? So both are firing crackers, right? Diwali, right? Then what is there? Sensitiveness. But you observe Ketab, always in sensitivity, right? He's always trying to understand what she is thinking, what she is feeling, what is happening within her, and how he can help her, right? Sensitivity, sensitivity. And that is the right use of marriage, right use of marriage, right? So sensitivity, to understand the other person. And the energy of sensitivity transcends all energies. There is sensitivity of sex energy. There's sensitivity of instinctive energy. Sensitivity is instinctive energy, but there's sensitivity of instinctive energy. There's sensitivity of moving, my movements. There's sensitivity of my feeling. There's sensitivity of my thinking. There's sensitivity of higher thinking. There's sensitivity of higher emotion, and there's sensitivity of the divine God also. It goes right up to there, the energy of sensitivity. This transformation of sensitiveness into sensitivity, right? Sensitiveness always starts with matchstick. Matchstick is reaction. Reaction starts with the reaction. In sensitivity, there is never any reaction. You're free of the reaction. Can get it? Now, sensitiveness is in the Manipur chakra. Sensitivity is in the Kundali chakra, not Kundalini, Kundali chakra. And they are both next to each other. Both next to each other. When an impression comes from outside, it automatically, there is a, what you call, pathway created that it goes to the Manipur chakra. And the Manipur chakra reacts. Sensitiveness. Why does it react? Why does it react? Because it is a leftover from the animals. The animals don't know how to respond. They only react. They only react to external stimuli. Can you get it? So animals only know how to react. And that Manipur chakra has come from the animals. And as long as we are reacting, we are still living with the animals. Can you get what I'm trying to say? So as we practice, we close the Manipur chakra and open the Kundli chakra. So the impression from outside which comes in through the five senses goes to the Kundli chakra, and there is sensitivity. The sensitivity. And this can be in anything, I tell you. Supposing on the TV, I say that, in the TV these days, all the news channels, they have learned something new, which scandal to expose, right? Nobody is giving you news. Everybody is trying to find some scandal to expose. And it's automatic because we get what you call, there's a sensitiveness, we get excited, etc. So you suddenly see, this minister is very corrupt or whatever. Can you get it? And immediately you react inside. This is the people's money and he has wasted the people's money, whatever you say inside. So there's an automatic reaction inside. Now, this is the area where you practice sensitivity. Something has driven that man to corruption. Can you see? That is his sanskar. He is not corrupt. It is this sanskar which is driving him to do this. Suddenly there's an understanding. Can you get it? That is sensitivity. He cannot do anything else. He's a machine. Can you understand? He cannot do anything else. That understanding comes with sensitivity. So we have to keep on practicing, increasing the energy of sensitivity, to understand the other, to sense the other. Right? Now, we go a little deeper into this. There is a thinking and there is a sensing, and beyond the sensing, there is intuition. Can you understand? Right? So he comes to me and he says, should I get married to this girl? So I think about it and I give him an answer. But I sense it and I give him an answer. Is there a difference between the two answers? Of course, beyond that, I intuit the answer. That is much higher. But at least in our normal life, when we are working with anything, when we are faced with multiple choices, can we just for some moment move from thinking and analyzing to sensing? And let our sensitivity give us an answer. Can you understand what I'm trying to say? So here also we work with the energy of sensitivity. And then there's something else also. It's lost now. Now it has become a complete mechanical thing. But there used to be a science of omens. A science of omens. So I get out of my bed and I say which nostril is working. And that gives me a sensitivity of what is going to happen today. Can you understand? Right? So there's many people say, a black cat walked over the road. A black cat walked over, don't go just now. A black cat. So this is an omen, right? But there's a sensitivity which tells you what the omen is trying to tell you. Every time the black cat walks over the road is not bad, right? Sometimes the black cat walking over the road may be something totally different, right? So supposing I see that I have died in a dream, right? So logically, if I have seen myself in a dream, I'm dead. It's a big problem over here, right? But if there's a sensitivity, I may understand it in a different way. I'll say, oh, maybe something of the old is going to die and something new is going to come in my life. Can you understand? So there's an approach to life through thinking, sensitiveness, and there's an approach to life through sensitivity. And we have to increase the energy of sensitivity. Every disciple, every seeker on the path, he must keep on increasing with consciousness the energy of sense. They'll move together. The energy of consciousness and the energy of sensitivity, they will move together. Consciousness, of course, is a vibration. It is not an energy, right? So, but it is a vibration, right? So Sushumna is a vibration. It is not energy. But electricity powers something, then it becomes energy. But electricity in its original form is a vibration. Can you get it? So that is sensitivity. Now, tomorrow you will get married, right? So there's attraction for 6 months. Then after attraction, boredom comes in. Where I see the same face every day, right? God has made so many faces. Where I got in this prison of seeing the same face every day, right? So then, but if sensitivity comes in, then the same face is new every day because you're sensing the other person. And the person is changing every second. Why every day? With every breath, we are dying and we are being reborn with every breath. And to feel that and to sense the other person as new every moment, that is sensitivity. So there is a big journey from sensitiveness to sensitivity, right? The first talk which Mr. Tavaria gave in 1981, which his father attended, Shailendra's father attended, right, was sensitiveness to sensitivity. That is how he started talking. Okay, we stop over here. Thank you.